Have you noticed something strange lately? Every year, smartphone companies release flashy new devices costing $1,000, $1,500, sometimes even $2,000. They promise revolutionary cameras, groundbreaking AI, and life-changing features. But here's the shocking truth: most people don't realize some of the best value smartphones on the market cost less than $200. And what makes this even crazier is that a few of these budget phones can do things that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. So the question is, are expensive phones really worth it anymore? Because by the end of this video, you might completely rethink how much money you spend on your next smartphone. For years, buying a cheap phone meant making painful compromises: slow performance, terrible cameras, constant lag, batteries that barely survived lunchtime. Budget phones had a reputation for being frustrating devices that people only bought when they had absolutely no choice. But something remarkable happened. While everyone was focused on premium smartphones, budget devices quietly evolved. Manufacturers found new ways to deliver incredible performance at a fraction of the cost. Competition became fierce. Companies started fighting for every customer in the budget market. And the result was something nobody expected. Phones under $200 became shockingly good. Today, we're diving into the best phones you can buy without destroying your wallet. But this isn't just another list. Along the way, you'll discover which budget phone secretly dominates battery life, which one offers the biggest surprise in camera quality, and which device could save you hundreds of dollars without making you feel like you're settling for less. And trust me, the phone that takes the #1 spot might not be the one you're expecting. Let's start with something important. Most people shop for smartphones completely wrong. They walk into a store, look at advertisements, compare megapixels, stare at giant display posters, and assume that higher prices automatically mean a better experience. But when researchers analyze how people actually use their phones, the reality is much simpler. The average person spends most of their smartphone time browsing social media, watching videos, sending messages, taking photos, listening to music, and occasionally playing games. You don't need a $1,500 phone to do those things. In fact, many budget devices now handle everyday tasks so smoothly that most users would struggle to tell the difference during normal use. That brings us to one of the biggest stars in the under $200 category. The Samsung Galaxy A15 has become one of the most recommended budget smartphones for a reason. Samsung understood something crucial. Most people don't need fancy gimmicks. They need reliability. The Galaxy A15 delivers a bright display, dependable performance, impressive battery life, and software support from one of the biggest smartphone companies in the world. And software support is something many buyers completely overlook. Imagine buying a phone today only to discover it stops receiving updates in a year. Suddenly your apps become slower, security risks increase, and your device starts feeling outdated. Samsung's commitment to updates gives the A15 a significant advantage over many competitors. But here's where things get interesting. Another budget phone is challenging Samsung in a way few expected. The Redmi Note series has built a massive reputation among budget-conscious buyers. These phones often offer specifications that look almost unbelievable for the price. Large batteries, high refresh rate displays, fast charging speeds. On paper, some Redmi devices seem like they belong in a much higher price category. This creates an important question. If two phones cost roughly the same amount, why do some feel dramatically faster than others? The answer lies in optimization. A smartphone isn't just about raw hardware. It's about how well the software and hardware work together. Some companies cram impressive specifications onto a box but fail to create a smooth user experience. Others focus on balance. That's why real-world performance matters more than marketing numbers. And speaking of surprises, let's talk about battery life. Years ago, battery anxiety was a daily problem. People carried chargers everywhere. Portable power banks became essential accessories. Running out of battery before the end of the day felt almost inevitable. Today, some budget phones have completely changed the game. Devices equipped with massive 5,000 mAh batteries can easily last an entire day and often push well into a second day for moderate users. Think about that for a moment. Some smartphones costing under $200 now offer better battery endurance than premium flagship devices that cost 5 or 6 times more. That's not a small improvement. That's a complete reversal of expectations. But battery life isn't the only area where budget phones are shocking consumers. Camera quality has experienced one of the most dramatic transformations in smartphone history. A decade ago, cheap smartphone cameras produced blurry images with poor colors and weak low-light performance. Capturing a memorable photo often felt like pure luck. Today, computational photography has changed everything. Software now plays an enormous role in image quality. Artificial intelligence helps improve colors, sharpen details, balance exposure, and enhance portraits. As a result, many budget phones can capture social media-ready photos that look surprisingly impressive. No, they're not beating the latest flagship camera monsters in every situation. But for Instagram, TikTok, family photos, vacations, and everyday memories, the gap is much smaller than most people realize. And that leads us to one of the biggest myths in the smartphone industry. Many consumers believe flagship phones improve every aspect of their experience. In reality, smartphone improvements have slowed dramatically over the past several years. Think about it. The difference between a phone from 2014 and one from 2018 was enormous. The difference between a phone from 2022 and one from 2026 is often much smaller. We've reached a point where smartphones are mature products. Displays are already excellent. Processors are incredibly powerful. Batteries are larger. Cameras are highly capable. Which means budget phones benefit tremendously from technologies that used to be reserved for premium devices. And now we arrive at the most important turning point in this entire discussion. The real question isn't which phone is best. The real question is what kind of user you are. If you're a professional mobile photographer, a hardcore gamer, or someone who constantly pushes their device to the limit, then spending more money might make sense. But if you're part of the overwhelming majority of users, your priorities are probably much simpler. You want good battery life, a decent camera, smooth performance, reliable software, a bright screen, and a phone that lasts for years. Once you define those priorities, something surprising happens. Many expensive phones suddenly become difficult to justify. This realization is causing a major shift across the smartphone industry. Manufacturers know consumers are becoming smarter. They're asking tougher questions. They're comparing value instead of chasing status symbols. As a result, budget smartphones are receiving more attention and innovation than ever before. And the competition is benefiting everyone. Companies are constantly trying to outperform each other with better displays, larger batteries, improved cameras, and longer software support. That's excellent news for consumers. Because every year, the under $200 category becomes more competitive. And here's a fascinating fact. Some of the world's fastest-growing smartphone brands aren't dominating because they sell the most expensive devices. They're growing because they deliver incredible value. Value is becoming the new luxury. The ability to spend less while getting more has become one of the smartest consumer strategies in modern technology. When you think about it, that makes perfect sense. Why pay significantly more for features you'll rarely use? Why spend hundreds of extra dollars when a budget phone already meets 95% of your daily needs? These questions are changing buying habits around the world. And that's exactly why phones under $200 deserve serious attention. Not because they're cheap, because they're smart. They represent one of the best examples of how technology becomes more accessible over time. Features that once seemed futuristic eventually become standard. Premium innovations slowly move downward, and consumers benefit. So, after everything we've explored, what's the biggest takeaway? The best phone isn't the most expensive phone. It's the phone that fits your needs. For many people, devices like the Galaxy A15, Redmi Note series, Moto G lineup, and other strong budget contenders provide everything necessary for an excellent smartphone experience. Great battery life, reliable performance, solid cameras, modern features, and money left in your pocket. That's a combination that's becoming harder and harder to ignore. The smartphone industry spent years convincing consumers that expensive automatically meant better. But today's budget devices are proving that value can be just as powerful. And perhaps that's the biggest surprise of all. The smartphone revolution isn't happening at the top of the market. It's happening under $200. If you enjoyed this video and discovered something new, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future tech breakdowns. And here's a question for you. What's the most you've ever spent on a smartphone, and was it actually worth it? Let me know in the comments below. Your answer might surprise everyone reading it. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep making smarter tech decisions.